Hello everyone, this is Untold Force, and today I'm going to cover a piece of software called MobiFlight. MobiFlight acts as an intermediary between your flight simulator. That might be Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020, Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024, or X-Plane 12, and you can use this to send button presses or access inputs into the simulator, into things that you might not normally be able to control. And also you can use it to take simulator states, like, for example, are your parking brakes engaged, and change LEDs or other indicator lights based off of that. So I'm going to start out with a blank slate. So we're just going to go to a new project here. And I assume that at this point you've installed MobiFlight. And if you haven't, go to the description below and click the link in there to download and install it. It's free and open source software. So you can go around, play with it, take a look at it, and have fun with it. And a few people have worked on this that I know of, really fantastic folks, and they've included VKB devices as being supported for outputs. So that means that you can control the LED states of your VKB gear using MobiFlight. And likewise, under inputs, you can have upgraded encoder support, which means that your encoders, which are normally a little slow and laggy, will be really responsive and fast. Now, I'm not going to cover how to do the encoder part. This is mainly just a tutorial on how to set things up in MobiFlight with your device. So we're just going to go here. We're going to choose a free flight somewhere. I don't know, let's pick someplace fun. We'll just go, we'll go here. We'll start that up and let that cook while we go and pull up MobiFlight. So the first thing is that I'm going to be working with a Gladiator Evo. Lots of people have them. It's a VKB Gladiator Evo with the Space Combat Grip. And we're just going to be using the base buttons. So it doesn't matter what you have. You can really use anything here. So let's start out by covering the input and output configs. And we'll just go and minimize that. Input configs are things that you would send to the simulation. So that means button presses or access inputs or encoders. Output configs are things from the simulation that you want to output onto your device. So that means LEDs, other things like that. So let's start with the input config. First, I'm just going to click scan for input. I'm going to press the F1 button on the base. So that is the center button. And what we're going to do is just double check that says F1, which is exactly what we wanted to do. And you have a bunch of different options here. Let's just select the first one, which is on press. And then we're going to select action type. And I'm going to choose Microsoft Flight Simulator because that's what we're using. And we're going to use vendor. We're going to go Microsoft because Microsoft has a lot of the generic input and output events. So that way it kind of works on most of the aircraft in the game. If you have specific things like the fly-by-wire aircraft, you may need to go and do a little research to find out what events they have. But the community has done a really good job of finding the presets that are available, and they've saved those to a system, a database called HubHop, which allows you to download all of these presets and makes it much easier to choose the things that you would do in game. In this case, as I said, we're just going to do a quick demo. So we're going to use the parking brakes on our Cessna as an example. So I'm going to type in parking brake. Now remember, this is an input event. So that means that we're going to toggle the parking brakes. And that's really what I want to do. So, there we go. Parking brakes toggle. I'm going to select that. If you want to see what the actual code is that it's sending to the sim, you can check this little box right here. It says show preset code. And all it says is that we're toggling the K event parking brakes, which is exactly what we want. I'm going to click OK. And it's always a good habit to name your events or your what you're doing. So in this case, I'm going to say parking brakes toggle. And that's an input event. Now, the other thing we want to do is we want to show that on our Gladiator base, our Gladiator Evo base. So I'm going to click in Output Config, and we'll take care of this later. First, I want to cover what displays we're using. So in this case, this is an output device, which means it's going to be like an LED or some other output. The module is the Gladiator Evo, and we're going to use type LED output. And there's a system blue light and a system red light on the base. If you want to see what this looks like, you can click the system red and click test. And voila, you should see the red LED on your base light up. If you click stop, it should turn off. Same thing for system blue. There we go. I now see it lit up blue. I'm going to use the red light to indicate when my parking brakes are engaged. So that way it's kind of a visual indicator. So we're going to click OK. And notice I only selected what it does. I didn't select how it's triggered. So we're going to go over here to this little box, the editing box. I'm going to use sim variable. And just like before, we're going to select vendor Microsoft, only because it should work on pretty much everything. I'm going to type in parking, and let's see what we've got. So let's see what these indicators. So brake parking indicator, it says parking brake indicator. And what we can do is, what it's doing is grabbing the A variable or A type aircraft variable, and it's looking at the brake parking indicator, and it's going to say on or off. So what we can do is we should hopefully try this out, of course. So we're going to do parking brake indicator light, and we'll click run. Now we'll bring up our simulation, and let's take a look at where our brakes are. Right now our brakes are on, and yes, my red light on the base of my Gladiator is on. So let's try pressing it. Nice, that's perfect. The parking brakes are now off, and that red light is now off. So this is a really quick way of just using your LEDs that are on the devices that you already have as indicators in Flight Simulator or X-Plane. And if you have any questions, drop by the VKB Discord, drop by the MobiFlight Discord. I'll provide links to both down below. And this is just a place to get started. These just getting used to input and output configs is kind of the basic to build on. And you can really go from here. The sky's the limit. There's so many thousands of events, tens of thousands of events that you can work with. And in Flight Simulator alone, for example, you can bind all of these buttons and all of these encoders to actual encoders on your VKB gear or buttons on your VKB gear. So play around with it, have fun, and of course, I hope you fly safe, in the words of Scott Manley, and have a great day. Thank you for watching my video. This is Untold Force.